Well, hello, ladies. I'm so excited to chat with you about this season. You know, one of the more entertaining seasons as of recent on Love Is Blind. I think people are definitely gonna, talk about a lot of things throughout this season, and that's due in part to like all of the, exciting and entertaining things that you all are going through with your partners throughout the season. I'm gonna start off with you, Ashley and Marissa, first off, because I think that there's always a discourse on social media, not only with Love Is Blind, but shows like, Love Island recently, a lot of dating competition shows about the way that Black women are perceived, colorism involved as well. And I wanted to know, in going on this show, especially one where, Love Is Blind, they don't see you, was there anything that you thought about your perception initially where, do I have to act a certain way? Do I have to present myself as this before heading into this series?
Yeah,
I definitely would say the phrase "don't be the angry Black woman" did cross my mind, once or twice. Not that I am that way, but we do tend to get the persona that if you do react out of irritation or anger, that you are that way. So I did try to keep my emotions to a certain level at certain times. However, you do have to show up as you, and you got to take up the space and you got to take up the room, right? No matter what or where you are. So after a while, once I got, pretty comfortable, that wasn't really a factor.
I would say I thought about it a little bit. I feel that with this experiment, like Love Is Blind in general, I feel like they generally portray Black women very well. So I felt very comfortable coming on here and being portrayed in the correct manner. And so I showed up as myself. I definitely, I didn't think too much about the angry Black woman thing. That is such a thing, but I did just want to make sure I was just myself. And I wanted people to also see like, we are not a monolith and that, we are all different types of Black people and Black girls. And so, yeah, I thought the show would be a good one to show that.
Yeah, and Taylor, similarly for you kind of had that as well. You were very cognizant on wanting to stick to the Love Is Blind part. So what was going through your mind? Did you have any similar aspects as far as how you wanted to present as well?
I wanted to present just as me, and I wanted to not have my ethnicity be part of the equation. As an Asian woman, I do get comments sometimes that make me very uncomfy of like, that my ethnicity is sexualized, and I just wanted to take that out of it. And so it's funny that my mom's name is a giveaway for that. And so being able to protect my ethnicity and just show up as myself and not have any assumptions or projections about what I look like, how I'd act, was really my intention.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Hannah, for you, I feel like you're getting a lot of questions about ducks. I'm not going to ask them.
I'm so excited to see it.
I told Nick I wasn't going to ask about them as well. But I want to ask about, you were kind of, I guess, at least during the first part of this season, like, I don't know if you call it a love triangle, a love square. And I just want to know, what was it like being in, not only in these conversations that you had with the men, but also the conversations with Brittany as well, because there's one conversation in particular where there was a lot of audacity. It wasn't from your end, but I think I was just sitting there watching like, wow, I don't know if I've ever seen like, there have been crazy things happen on Love Is Blind, but kind of like, the way that things were playing out. It was really interesting to see. So it was like being in that moment of how everything was beginning to connect within those few four people.
Yeah, it was like you didn't really realize you were a love triangle until you do, right? And I think it was just unique because like, that this is what this experience is. And I really tried to like, not just like, this is what it is. If someone else is dating the guy you're dating, it's okay. And like, this is what we're doing. So just being transparent about what's going on, and like, it's confusing. Like you can like multiple people and like, it's very confusing. So I think just like having patience and like grace with everyone and just like being open and communicate, like if things are happening, like let the other person know, so.
I love that answer because I feel like I can only imagine being in this experience with like, things that happen in days are actually like weeks and months in your mind. So I'm assuming you're also like, you're learning grace as you're going on. You're like, okay, maybe this is how like I need more time with this, or like maybe this person needs more time with that. So I can only imagine like being in your shoes and like, things moving at like a rapid pace, but also kind of slow.
Yeah.
Super slow and super long, but really fast all at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't just.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hello, Nick and Tyler. Thanks for chatting with me today. I'm so excited to chat about this season of Love is Blind, which I think is definitely going to have a lot of people talking on social media, but it was also a very fun season and just great to know and get to know you all through the season and your partners as well. Nick, I'll start with you. I'm hearing a lot of people asking about the ducks, so I'm not going to ask about the ducks.
I appreciate it.
I'm not going to ask about the ducks this time. But it is interesting to see through the first 6 episodes where I feel like you were kind of like the it guy of the pods. Like everyone was talking about Nick during those first few episodes. So how was it for you to kind of have like this perception you felt in the pods, and then, you know, certain interactions with Hannah early on, and then even when all the couples got together and everyone's kind of putting names with faces, how was it for you to have like a perception that maybe the women had built up, and then kind of like seeing that reaction, not only with Hannah but the other women as well?
Yeah, I took it kind of fun and light, you know. It wasn't a bad compliment that they were giving me. Honestly, I was just trying to create conversation, you know, form some connections. And, you know, Hannah would kind of make jokes about my nicknames, you know, Nicky Suave. He calls me Slick Nick. You know, but it's just authentic me, you know, it's what you get. And, you know, I didn't want to, you know, all the women were great over there. So I enjoyed talking with them all, and maybe that comes across, you know, a certain way, but, you know, there was nothing to it.
Yeah. And Tyler, for you, first of all, I think that, of course, you haven't seen the season yet, but the arc that you both have during the season is like very, very, it's kind of heartwarming, but you also get to learn so much about both you and Ashley throughout the season as well. But for you, you're very candid and open about your relationship with your family and your mother and growing up and stuff. How was it like being vulnerable about that on Love is Blind? And do you think that kind of opened you up to be more vulnerable within the relationship as well?
Absolutely. So I didn't grow up being vulnerable. It was men don't cry, you know, toughen it up. But then I was put into an environment where 15 other men are opening up and telling me it's okay to be open. It was new for me. And every woman I talked to would say, hey, it's okay. So to then open up and find out that, hey, it's okay to express your emotions. No one's judging you. They're not calling you less of a man for it. And in our relationship, it did change to where it's like, you can communicate about anything. You can express your feelings as a man, and a woman's not going to bash you for it. It was very comforting. Felt safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's always interesting to watch the show because it's just like, I can say I would have done this or that, but I feel like it's totally different, like being in the pods and like you're sitting there having to take notes on every interaction you have and kind of piece that together. What's one thing do you think surprised you the most? Like the one thing that completely blindsided you when you went into the show, and then you had this experience and you felt totally different, or had an experience that you thought you would have while doing all this?
No, I would say it's pretty simple. No one really understands how quickly you could fall for someone. You know, they kind of see a couple episodes and they're like, how does this person fall for them? You talk about things that you talk about, you know, with your 2-3 year partner in a couple days. So you really get to know someone, and you don't have any distractions. So you're so immersed in this experiment and these couple, you know, connections that you create that, you know, you fall real quick.
Yeah.
I think just being able to fall for someone without seeing them was a shock for me. Because, of course, prior to going, I'm sure like everyone else are like, you know, is this a thing? You know, but I'm willing to figure it out. And then getting there and then finding out that emotions come through walls. You don't need to see a face to fall for someone was a shock for me. And I'm glad that I did it.
I think it's interesting how, like, you know, when your distractions are limited, you can like focus in on one thing. I'm a big fan of shows like Big Brother and like Love Island, things like that. And you notice that like how when you're removed from the outside world, it's interesting how time can move so swiftly and so quickly. So I can only imagine, like, you know, okay, wow, you're only saying I love you from like a few days, but like those few days may feel like, you know,
weeks.
Yes,
months.
It's completely different for us.
Yeah.
So I always let people know, for you, it's, you know, 2 days. For us, it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about stuff that we haven't talked with other people that we've known for years. So it's completely different than just out here meeting someone and going on a date for 20 minutes.
I can only imagine. But thank you both so much for your time, and I can't wait to see the rest of this.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for your
much.
time,
I appreciate
man.